It's been almost 20 years since Capcom unleashed Dino Crisis upon the world. The company wanted to create the next great survival horror series. In fact, Capcom had such high hopes for Dino Crisis that they tried to give the game its own subgenre, panic horror. It just didn't catch on. But the game did leave a lasting impression on anyone trying to kick some dinosaur ass. The first game in the series hit in 1999, just 6 years after Steven Spielberg's adaptation of Jurassic Park reignited interest in killer dinos. But it wouldn't be an exaggeration to call Dino Crisis a Resident Evil clone with dinosaurs. In fact, several members of Resident Evil's creative team, including director Shinji Mikami, played major roles in the creation of Dino Crisis. Mikami has acknowledged the influence that The Lost World, Jurassic Park, and Aliens had on Dino Crisis, and the game was wrapped up in a very familiar package for RE fans. Meet Regina, the red-haired heroine and US Special Forces operative who headlined the first two Dino Crisis games. Surely no one was going to notice that she was just Jill Valentine with a wig and an extremely tight outfit, at least until Jill cosplayed as Regina in Resident Evil 3.
Brad, hang in there. Why isn't someone doing something about this?
Regina's costume did have more protection than the outfit Jill wore in that sequel, and for the 90s, it was almost practical. The game didn't totally rip off Jurassic Park's explanation for the dinosaurs, but it's still a wonderfully convoluted tale that doesn't make a whole lot of sense. It goes like this. On a secret weapons facility located on a remote island, an off-the-grid researcher named Dr. Edward Kirk does some experiments with third energy technology and creates a rift in space-time that brings dinosaurs directly from the past to the far-off year of 2009. The time-traveling dinosaurs weren't exactly a variety pack. There were a lot of velociraptors. So many velociraptors that players had plenty of chances to outsmart the clever girls. Admittedly, it was very satisfying to knock out the dinosaurs with tranq guns. Occasionally, a couple of pteranodons and a random therizinosaurus would show up to menace everyone. By the way, I'm on a lot of therizinosaurus right now. Anyway, there was also a freaking T-Rex who recurred throughout the entire game. If Regina was the Jill clone, then this dinosaur was her nemesis. Regina had some help on her mission from her SORT teammates. That team name, by the way, was short for Secret Operation Raid Team because, of course, it was. But these weren't exactly the competent non-player character sidekicks we have today, and Regina still did all the heavy lifting. Dino Crisis borrowed from the control setup from the previous Resident Evil games, which gave it a more relentless enemy than any of the prehistoric visitors. It's not the Atari 2600 level impossible to play, but it's not always fun to fight the controller when your character's running for her life, you know? While Dino Crisis wasn't the breakout hit that Resident Evil was, it was successful enough that Capcom rushed a sequel out in 2000. Regina returned in Dino Crisis 2, and that's where things started to get really weird because this time Regina had to share the spotlight with Dylan Wharton, agent of TRAT. That's Tactical Reconnaissance and Acquisition Team, and the second really silly acronym of the series. For the sequel, Capcom veered away from Resident Evil territory by giving Dino Crisis 2 a more action-oriented experience with a wider variety of dinosaurs. The two heroes could run into Allosaurus, Triceratops, Plesiosaurus, and Giganotosaurus, as well as any other breed of saurus returning from the first game. The story also took a harder sci-fi turn as players learned that the events of the first game created an alternate timeline where humans no longer existed. Attempts to fix the past only made things worse, and Dylan had a bit of a predestination paradox when he met his future daughter and got an exposition dump from himself. Dino Crisis 2 also had a cliffhanger ending in which Regina had to abandon Dylan and his daughter to their fate, but she promised to find a way to save them. And she really shouldn't have done that because aside from a few cameo appearances in other games, that was the last time we ever saw Regina.
Don't forget, you still owe me one.
Well then, you better get back quick.
When 2003 rolled around, Capcom veered more toward Aliens than Jurassic Park by putting the dinosaurs in space. Dino Crisis 3 jumped to the year 2548 and set the action on a space station filled with dinosaur-like creatures, but they weren't actually dinosaurs. They were just sorta made from the DNA of various dinosaurs and put together as horrible monstrosities. The game abandoned almost every aspect of the first two titles, except for the wacky acronyms like SOAR, which stands for Special Operations and Reconnaissance. The new protagonist was SOAR, or S-O-A-R member Patrick Tyler, but players briefly assumed control of Sonya Hart, Patrick's partner, who was voiced by Vanessa Marshall of Star Wars Rebels. Patrick and Sonya were forced to stop the ship's control system from unleashing its dino hybrids on Earth. And that was it for Dino Crisis. The third game failed to reignite the series, and there hasn't been a follow-up title in 15 years. And look, hey, you know what? That happens. Even Resident Evil reached a point where the series became stagnant. But then Capcom released Resident Evil 4, which revitalized its primary survival horror franchise. Dino Crisis never got a chance to have its fourth installment, and it would have been pretty sweet to roundhouse kick a few dinos if they got too close, but we'll never get that chance again. So much time has passed that Dino Crisis has been almost entirely overlooked by a new generation of gamers. And even now, there may still be hope for another Dino Crisis game or a remastered edition in the future. Series creator Shinji Mikami has expressed a desire to return to Dino Crisis with new ideas, but ultimately, the survival of this series is gonna be up to Capcom. The original Dino Crisis seems like it would be a very good candidate for a modern remake with, better controls, more dinosaurs, and enhanced graphics. There may even be a decent video game movie somewhere in there if Capcom goes beyond the game's Jurassic roots. If Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom is another blockbuster hit, and you know it's gonna be, then perhaps Capcom will finally get serious about reviving its lost video game franchise and take advantage of it for further inspiration. I mean, Regina's still got a promise to keep, and we're eager to get some updated dino action. Look, we're not gonna lie, we'd even settle for some Pratt keeping options. That'd be cool. What would you want to see in a modern Dino Crisis game? Mainly though, does Regina's outfit still have cosplay potential? We think so, but let us know in the comments.